We just got a major update on the origins of RDJ's Doctor Doom, and this could explain why Doom and Tony look alike, what Doom's mission is in Doomsday and Secret Wars, and finally put to rest the debate of whether or not the two are variants. Hey everybody, Colton here, and we've got a new leak revealing various origin stories for Doctor Doom that were considered for Doomsday that connect Doom and Tony Stark. This leak comes from My Time to Shine Hello, and it reads as follows. Doom's origin story in Doomsday didn't always involve him having a family. Sidebar, remember the current reporting states that Doom in Doomsday has lost his family to some kind of accident. Now, back to the leak. Other versions include his parents dying, one where he believed he was a reincarnation of Tony Stark and that he belonged in the MCU, and one of the most insane ideas had him working for Mephisto, the devil of the MCU, of the Marvel Universe that we actually met in Ironheart. And another version had him obsessed with either Pepper Potts or Sue Storm. Okay, so the wives of either Reed Richards or Tony Stark Iron Man. So out of all these different origins, the one about him thinking that he may have been a reincarnation of Tony that belonged in the MCU, that one sounds kind of cool. Like he's like aspiring to be this Tony Stark guy, yet for some reason his path in life, like in the multiverse, ended up with him becoming this like scarred both physically and like in a metaphorical sense, like his life has just been so difficult. That's kind of an interesting option. I'm not crazy about the idea of Doctor Doom wanting to be Tony Stark. I don't really like that idea. I like the idea of Doctor Doom being Doctor Doom and being proud to be Doctor Doom. I'm also not crazy about or really even buying this idea of him working for Mephisto. I mean, yes, that is something that we see in the comics because Doom's mom is in hell and we see him trying to get her out of hell. I just don't know that we're going to see Doom, who is about to become God Emperor, working for anyone. Plus Mephisto has kind of been a character that it looks like they're going to be exploring more so on the small screen. So the reason that I am covering this story primarily is because if true, this makes it crystal clear that, of course, there is more to the story on why RDJ was cast as Doctor Doom, apart from him just being a great actor and apart from him, rejoining the MCU being a good PR move. There is a story reason as well, and their likeness and their connection will be addressed. Not in Doomsday necessarily, well, not until the very end of Doomsday, but mainly in Avengers Secret Wars. Now, I've been very clear from the start, from the moment way back when RDJ was announced as Doctor Doom. I thought it was obvious, crystal clear, that these two characters were going to be multiversal variants of one another. And for some reason, that claim still gets a lot of pushback. Now, I'm not talking about the pushback from those who just don't like the idea of Tony and Doom being connected and who would have preferred they just cast someone else as Doctor Doom. I'm talking about those goofy birds who think that it's just going to be an aw shucks, golly gee, McGillicuddy, coinky dink, that the guy that just played the MCU's biggest hero is returning to now play the MCU's biggest villain, and the fact that they look alike will just be ignored or chalked up to coincidence, and all of this is just an actor getting cast in another Marvel role, just like Michael B. Jordan played Human Torch and then played Killmonger, Chris Evans played Human Torch and then played Captain America. RDJ will just have played Iron Man and now he's playing Doctor Doom, and that'll be where it stops. It won't be addressed in universe. Some say his face will be so deformed that you can't even tell it's RDJ, or that he'll never take the mask off, and that the only reference we might get in universe is just a, wow, they look alike, or Deadpool being the only one who notices. No, and a key piece of evidence that these knuckle draggers tend to cite is where they say, oh, well, the Russos said RDJ is playing Victor Von Doom, therefore that confirms he is not a variant with Tony Stark. Guys, someone's name does not determine if they're a variant, okay? Kang had multiple variants that all had starkly different lives and different names and accents, and they were all so different from each other. So this idea that RDJ's Doom can't be a 100% comic accurate, true to form Victor Von Doom, if they go the route of having Tony Stark and Doom be variants, that's just an asinine claim. He can still be just as much Victor Von Doom as he otherwise would have been if there were no connection and they just cast a brand new actor. If in one timeline, this baby is adopted by the Starks, for example, and has a completely different raising and was perhaps even experimented on by Howard Stark to make his adopted son more like his adoptive father, that could totally work. And the second argument that people like to bring up a lot is the scene in Deadpool and Wolverine, where Deadpool thinks that Human Torch is Captain America.
Avengers, flame on! Sorry, what now?
That was a gag for a Deadpool movie, a fourth wall breaking, goofy, not to be taken too seriously gag that will very likely never be addressed again, except for maybe by Deadpool. RDJ returning as Dr. Victor Von Doom in the multiverse saga in a movie that is a direct sequel to Avengers Endgame, like not just, oh, it's the next Avengers movie, but is literally entangled with the story of Endgame. It's a little bit of a different fucking kind of situation, okay? So it is totally going to be addressed. Now, I am not dense. I know that an actor can play another character, and that doesn't therefore mean, oh my God, Killmonger is a Human Torch variant. No, those movies where we saw Human Torch portrayed by actors who moved on to the MCU, they weren't made by Marvel Studios, number one. They were made by 20th Century Fox. But Marvel Studios, who made Avengers Endgame, made, all the MCU movies, and who is now making Avengers Doomsday, they are not going to cast the same actor, RDJ, a lead actor, to now play a different role, the lead actor in a sequel to a movie where he played the lead role in the previous one. And what, now he's going to play a different a character that has no connection to the character he played in the previous movie, and they're not going to address the fact that they look alike? He was cast for a reason. There's a reason Joe Russo said that in the infinite possibilities of the Marvel multiverse, this is what's possible, and that there was only one actor who could play Victor Von Doom. There is a reason that the Russo said that Tony's snap is tied to Doom and Avengers Doomsday's story, because there is going to be a connection. What is that connection? Well, I've always felt that the safest bet was that in a saga called the Multiverse Saga, where we've been introduced to the concept of variance and how the slightest change can completely alter the flow of time and, what happens. I personally like the idea of Tony being a product of the manipulations of He Who Remains and his sacred timeline, rewriting Universe 616 to make it to where Victor Von Doom's parents are killed and he is adopted as a baby by the Starks, and now that the multiverse is wide open and the sacred timeline is no more and there's no more He Who Remains, Victor Von Doom can now come into existence and be aware of how his existence was tampered with, and now he is seeking the throne of the man who did that tampering, only that throne is now occupied by Loki. And I just think that all just sets up for such a cool story. There is no way that's not at least kind of what they're planning to do. But hey, those are just my thoughts. I do not think there's a snowball chance in hell that their likeness is not going to be addressed, at least come Secret Wars. In fact, I think Doomsday will end with Doom unmasking and our heroes seeing that under the mask is the face of their old friend, Tony. And that will be the cliffhanger that then takes us into Secret Wars. But hey, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video. I've been Colton Ogburn. I'll see you next time. Bye!